Hi, welcome. So there's a bit of a technical issue on the live stream tonight, so I'm having to do a re-record. We'll do it as a live stream, and if you have questions, please drop them in the comments later. And yeah, we'll get on with the workshop. So welcome to Wednesday workshop. I want to try and do these every week, so we get a bit more engagement going on. I can kind of help you more directly, so it's a lot more interactive, and hopefully every week going forward it'll be a lot more helpful for you. So let's crack on. So welcome back. I'm James. If you haven't met me before, I'm James. I've come up with the Invest with James channel to try and help people escape the grind. If you're interested in personal investing, escaping the rat race, so to speak, creating your vision for financial freedom, and I'm very happy to help you along that journey. It's something that I've massively proud to have achieved in a way that I retired myself actually 6 years ago. So at the age of 40, I already built my financial freedom. And with that, I really want to give back and I really want to try and help more people get started. And, I've seen so many issues with so many people that just find excuses, as we can all. And that's why even doing these lives is to prove to me you don't need to have excuses. You just need to take action. So I've got a lot of little points to go through today. And today's Wednesday workshop is based on the lessons of 2025. As we come into December, it's a great chance to just kind of reflect back on the last 12 months, 11 months of the year. It's been a journey, that's for sure. Then we're going to go later on to planning ahead for next year. I'm very close now. It's only 4 weeks till we reach 2026. And so let's plan ahead as well. And I will do a sort of question and answer at the end, but that might be a bit briefer because I'm doing this solo style instead of interactive on the live, which I would normally do. So let's see how it unfolds. And I hope this is really going to be interesting for you. So, yeah, so let's have a look. Start with the lessons of 2025. And just briefly, I mean, it's been a year, hasn't it? I mean, let's be honest, it's been the quickest year I've ever had, but also so much is packed into it. When you look back, the things that have happened personally in the markets, everything, there just seems to be a heightening of just activity. And it's something that just bombards the idea that it's been a busy year. Um, even on a life situation, I've had a lot of changes in my life. And that's why even now, welcome to my new home. This is my new studio, life on the road. So I will do a full tour for you. And if you're interested, I'll do a live stream of that as well. So I can show you what life is like on the road. Recently moved into this some 2 months ago now, actually. So yeah, I mean, yeah, ordered it back in the summer, but of course nothing happens quickly. And so yeah, part of the new venture, let's just get started. And this is why bringing everything back together, reflect on the year that we've just had. So let's start on the first one, really, which I wanted to think of, which lesson one, well, the main part, overthinking. And I think without doubt, we can all do it. And I'm probably my own worst enemy for that as well. So that's why I know exactly what people go through. It's very easy to overthink everything because you just try and give yourself so much reassurance emotionally and psychologically to prepare yourself. But the problem is, overthinking leads to analysis paralysis, it leads to procrastination, and all you're doing is you're churning everything inside your mind. And some days your mind wants to go. It's like it doesn't help. And so this is something, a big lesson for myself as well. And this is where I know other people suffer exactly the same things. Take the little steps of action, baby steps. So even, or bite-sized chunks, if you like, whatever analogy you like, but making small actions go forward will be a million times better than overthinking a situation. And I want to do this in the same analogy of doing the live stream. I've actually wanted to do this for maybe 2 months now. And it's very easy to overthink, 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 and learn more just try it. Just spontaneously do it right now. And the thing is, when you're in a mode of overthinking, you want it to be perfect. We all want life to be perfect. It's not. um, we can try very much, but you learn more from the actions you take than the thinking that you did. Now, let me try and put that better, because until you actually start to create something, you create a picture in your mind, sure, and you create a vision, but you don't actually create the thing until you take action. And this is what happens so often, is with the, go back slightly to the paralysis analysis side, where a lot of people in the investing side, let's keep with this situation, that everyone's waiting, oh, buy the dip, buy the dip. Well, that's all well and good. There have been some dips this year. I mean, as a reference point, let's take the S&P 500 for example. It's had a lot of dips this year and a lot of good buying opportunities, but I bet if you were on the fence, you still didn't buy in, because you wanted the dip to be bigger. So you're over analyzing, oh, I want it cheaper, it'll be cheaper, it'll be cheaper. And you just sit and wait rather than just take baby steps. Again, if you'd have bought in at some of those low points, you'd have been doing very nicely this year. I mean, just a reference, S&P up 25% in the year. Take it. But even if you bought the lows and highs, even better. But even as a general rule, buying the dip, you can squeeze more money doing the buy the dip theory, buy low, sell high. Sure. But you're always waiting the perfect moment. And you don't try to time the market. And this is something, come back to one of my earlier videos. I'll reference this one when I put this up. So you see the video here where I make good reference to Warren Buffett, one of my favorite investors. He says, don't try to time the market, spend time in the market, and eventually it's going to count for itself. So if you're waiting to buy the dip and it only dips 5%, some people say that's not a dip. Well, it is if it goes up 50%. So it all becomes relative. And that's where sometimes you need to zoom out and look at a bigger picture and say, oh, I wish I bought in. And the problem is then you come into the other part, which is you start to build regret of not doing something, and that paralyzes you even more. So learning the lessons of this year, and say, that's why it's about reflecting. Learn those lessons and don't do it again. We're all adult enough to say, okay, this didn't work, or it did work. Congratulations, well done, you've done very well. But if some things didn't work, change your approach, reflect on it, and do something different. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's happened, it's life. It's a chapter. This year is a chapter. This chapter is closing. Next year we open a new book. So make sure you take experience forward and go, okay, I'm not going to do the same thing, do it slightly differently. And all these lessons is really good to reflect on, because in a minute when we go on to the planning for next year, you can start to create more of a strategy for what you're going to do going forward. And we'll cover all that later. So yes, so just the final point on that one, make the move. It's not going to be a perfect move, but make the action point. And that's the real takeaway I want to take from the lesson of overthinking. So just take action, baby steps, consistently over time, build up. A lot of people use the 1% a day rule. If I make myself 1% better every day, you make exponential changes every year. And maybe you want to do that in your personal life, in your physical life, in your financial life, in your work life. Any of those aspects, you can do 1% better every day. And those are the same as compounding, that you will build up the reward. And when you look back after a year, you're going to go, wow, who was that person? So that's the big key lesson there. Lesson 2, so be selfish. And it's hard for me to say that because I'm probably who I think is one of the least selfish. And it's hard to set boundaries. But at the same time, you need to be true to yourself. And that's a lot of personal trait, probably being an introvert for many, many years and still class myself as an introvert. But be selfish and be true to yourself. That's why we'll cover this part really a bit more in the planning side, because separate yourself in a way that if you're not being true to yourself, you're living somebody else's life, or you're being driven by somebody else's life, or you're being pulled along. You're not living intentionally with the selfish attitude, and I call it selfish, is rightfully so. We are all people, and we can do what we want and what we choose to do, because very often we come into a point where you're people pleaser. Oh, I don't know what my partner's going to say, my parents, or this, and it's like, let them say what they're going to say. But sometimes you need to be selfish, determined, and learn your own lessons. It'll be a lesson of pride. You will take the pride in the fact that you made your own choices, good or bad, in life and finance as well. We've all been there. Um, you know, it's your choice you made, and that where it sits better, because you made an intentional decision. This is what I'm going to do, and respect other people's choices, but that shouldn't influence you. And that's why being selfish and setting the boundaries and say, I appreciate your opinion and I really thank you for that, but I have to do it my way. Don't be shy to create your own path in your future. So we'll come on to that in a minute. So then we come on to lesson 3 just quickly, because we're in December, Christmas month. Some things start to slow down. It's kind of nice, Christmas get-togethers, and just a good time to reflect back. But it's a pause time to also give gratitude to yourself, as well as the things you've done, because we've all done things that we may have overlooked in the last year. We've all done great gestures for people. We've all done nice words for people. We've helped people along, and be grateful of yourself for that and give yourself a pat on the back. So I'll say, well done. I'm sure you've all had a great year, and you've done some gracious things which you've overlooked, and you should be proud. And that's part of Christmas, is to come back together and say thank you, because we've all helped each other. And that's all what humankind is people. And I think a lot of people forget, they use other excuses in a way, but we are human beings. Just get together and have a great life. That's what everybody wants. Have it peaceful at Christmas, particularly at Christmas, and help each other. So in reflection of the last year, look at what's worked, what hasn't as well, but just highlight them. Don't dwell on them. It's not going to help you to dwell on it and go, I wish I changed this, I wish I did. It happens, okay? We've all made little choices. You might have gone, that was silly. Just note it, be aware of it. But at least then you bring it to your attention and say, intentionally, I can change that, because you're now aware of it. So you're going to thank yourself massively for moving forward on that. The idea of highlighting the reason to plan 2026 in December, a month early, get ahead. And it puts you in the right frame of mind and said, right, we have this time to reflect. This has gone well, this has not gone well. Learning your own personal lessons in life, in relationships, in work, in finance, even investing, your lifestyle, whatever. Look at all the different aspects of your life and reflect on those. And then you can go on to step 2, which is the really exciting part. Look at your plan for 2026. What is your absolute plan? I'm going to sit back for this, because it's really nice to think your next year is in your hands. And there's a reason why it's in your hands, because it means action. It's not in your head, it's in your hands, okay? So the thing is, it has to come from your thoughts, where you have an intention that this is what you want. You have to believe it, and you have to make it happen. So this is where the whole kind of vision board ideology comes from. And this is something that's really important when you're trying to plan ahead. So covering from the lessons that we've learned, take 5 minutes, or as long as you want, cup of coffee, sit down with a blank notepad. It may not just be a plan for 2026, by the way. It may be a plan for exactly what you want. Okay. So we're going to look closely at what would your ideal life look like. It's a big question. It's a very big question. But I don't think people answer it to themselves. And that's why I want to bring it up in this workshop, because let's be honest, you are the director of your life. Because a director in a film, in a cinema, creates the film. Well, you're creating your life, but you need to have a vision for what you want your life to look for. And that's why planning. And I think many people overlook this part. And I think everybody should maybe once a year refresh their plan and say, okay, my big future plan, I want this. Where do I want to live? What do I want to do? How will I spend my time? Maybe how will I spend my money and things like that. And you will very often find the money is not the driver. Okay. Because I'm going to come into this on the financial freedom part. And what does financial freedom mean for you? Because they're very closely connected. But I think most people, in my view, from what I've seen from people, it's a big dream. It's like, it'll stay a dream unless you make certain steps happen and make progress towards it. The idea of a goal is not always to meet that goal. It's to give you the energy to push. And then you're going to be steps ahead than if you've done nothing. And that is always the biggest takeaway that I get when I see people have a goal and say, oh, it'll never happen. Well, that's just a wish. We can all wish things. Yeah, sure. You know, you can wish it was hot and sunny every single day. We can all wish that, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to change. All you can do is change the way you are interacting with it. So if you really want hot, sunny, warm weather, live somewhere where it's hot, warm, and sunny. So, and then don't complain when it's wet and windy, because you can't have both. And then you make a choice. And it also, having your big plan, you have it clear. It makes your decision making so much easier. Does a choice align with my goal, or does it not? So it makes the decision yes or no very quickly. Does it align? Yes, great, go with it. And this is why having the big vision, it always, I say nearly always, I would say 99% of people, the financial freedom is not the money, it's the freedom part. Okay. And that's because it's about choices. You have free choices when you have freedom. You can live where you like. You can do what you like. You can drive what you like. You can be on holiday when you like. You have choices, but it only comes if you make an intentional choice and go on that path. If you don't set the path, you're going blind. You know, it's like walking in the dark without a torch. You're just going all over the place, going, well, I'll go this way, I'll go that way, but it's going to take you a lot longer than if you follow a path with the torch. You see what I mean? So this is why have a plan. And then because we have a plan, that is your destination. Okay, your ideal life is over here, whichever, I don't mind. But let's go over here. Okay, so this is your ideal life. Okay, we're going to call this point B on your Google Map setting, the way you want to go. Okay, and this is where you need to reverse engineer, because if you know where you want to go, you need to be honest and say exactly where you are. And this is the little part I'm working on at the minute in the sideline. I'm working on just a very basic budget planner, or you find another one on the internet, it doesn't really matter. Finding out where you are with your personal finances and stopping your leaky bucket. I call it a leaky bucket because we've all been there. We have income, holes, subscriptions, impulse shopping, all this stuff. It just, your money disappears. And people go, I don't know. You do know where it's going. You're not facing the fact. That's why writing it in black and white creates your leaky bucket audit. Where is my money going? Be honest with yourself, brutally honest, and you will see gaps. I've seen this in 90% of cases. When you see the numbers, they say, I've been spending money on things I don't need. So when you say you don't have money, you do have money. Maybe not a lot, but it's discipline. It's always the deciding factor of whether someone says they have money or not. If someone says they have no money, they don't actually have a money problem. They have a discipline problem of what they do with it. And I say that very boldly. I speak to people, uh, and it's not to be rude at all. You know, everyone can spend the money as they like, but then don't say you don't have money to invest when you splurge out all the time. And I've grown up as a saver all my life. I still don't do impulse shopping. I still buy supermarket things that I like. My idea of financial freedom is very modest by a lot of people's standards, but it comes with compromises. I would rather live a life of freedom than having a good job, paying for an expensive house, expensive car, expensive bills, all the other things, and it's a cycle that you end up chasing, but are you really happy with it? But if you can make a decision and say, actually, my freedom, my financial freedom is based on freedom. What do I really need? Do you want to live somewhere else? Live cheaper. I'm living on the road. It's a lot cheaper. Okay, yeah, buy a camper van, have a project, something like that. But it's a lot cheaper. We all have choices. And if you want to make the compromises, you can live the life exactly as you want to. So that's my big mission for you, to try and inspire people to start taking action and use the fact that use where you are, where you want to go. You have a journey, you've got a strategy, you've got a goal. We can all get there. And we're going to make 2026 an epic year. And I really look forward to hearing from you, sharing your journey as well. I really want you to be part of this as well, because it really fills me with pride that I've helped you as well as so many other people that I've helped directly so far. And I want to help as many people as I can going into next year. So if you've got this far in the video, I really appreciate it. I hope you've subscribed us already, and I'll be doing the next Wednesday workshop next Wednesday at 7 o'clock GMT. So hopefully everything will be live that time. And if you have any questions, personal, finance, anything, drop it in the chat and I will come back to you as soon as I can. Okay, that's been brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me. And if I don't speak to you before Christmas, have a lovely Christmas. Enjoy the rest time, and let's move forward together. Okay, cheers then. So I'll roll this into a little bit of a question and answers. What's the biggest mistake new investors make going into 2026? And for this, it has to be the overthinking, because so many people have the overthinking excuses. Typically, I have no money. Understandably, Christmas is more expensive, granted, but look at your personal finances. Be brutally honest with yourself. Is your money you're wasting? It doesn't bother me. I'm fine. But if you want to build your real future, you need to think of compromising. Is it better you compound your investment now and build a future, or you just live in denial? It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Well, one day it won't. What are you going to do? You know, do you have your emergency fund, 6 months emergency fund? If you lose your job, you've got money. Do you have investments that you could pull on if you needed to? If you had a life-changing situation, what would you do? Give yourself those options. And this is where planning ahead. If you have your options, you'll sleep much better at night. So stop overthinking and waiting for the perfect moment. And so many people say the excuse line normally goes, I haven't got the money, but they don't mean it normally in, I don't have the cash. They normally think they need lots of money to start. And that's simply not true by a long way. £50 gets you started now on any of the platforms that I use. I'm pretty sure £50 is the minimum start which is fine. And very often joining the platforms, I've got the links on the description below, you will get a nice little bonus as well. So there you go, you start. So you stop overthinking, set up an account. It's straightforward. It's like setting up a new bank account nowadays. You can set new bank accounts up in 5 minutes. It's really not a long-winded process. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's only as complicated as you make it. I'm going to go through more of the investing and actually getting started in more videos that I want to do as a tutorials, but it's very, very straightforward. Follow the basics. And again, if you're starting with small amounts, you can afford to just try. Because the problem is, this is where the overthinking comes in. If you think, I'm going to spend £100 and I'm going to put it on Apple, let's say Apple shares. Okay, we like Apple, but you know, whether you do or don't, doesn't matter. If you buy that, you're then going to be watching every movement of that stock price. It goes up or down, and it's going to move whether it will or not. But this is where you need a plan. And if it goes down, it's a test of your reaction, of your emotions. If you are so gripped on price movement so slightly, don't invest. That's very clear with so many people. My advice for you then, if you are really edgy, and I'm sorry, that is true, that you overanalyze, buy bonds or just high yield savings accounts. Build up your nest that then you can use little play money, and treat your investments as play money. But you'll learn more from just buying a stock of Apple. Buy £50 of Apple. You don't have to buy a whole share anymore. You can buy fractional shares. So it's on the amount that you want to invest. It gets you into the habit of just trying to buy a share. Once you've tried and you go, I bought my first share there, the pride that you will have in the fact you've done it. And again, this is where baby steps help. If you've done it once, you know you can do it again, and you get better and you get more confident. But it comes with action, not thinking. So you can't keep thinking, I will buy one share then. No, you need to do it. Open the account, fund it, buy one share or buy £50, whichever. Doing the action, you will learn more much faster. So the other big mistake that beginners make is expecting miracles, expecting your first stock to go to the moon. And that's where the idea of the meme stocks come up, even cryptos as well, very volatile. If you gamble your money away, you are also likely to crash and burn with it as well. So this is where having a strategy. If you are investing reasonable sums of money into the hundreds, into the thousands, you could put some money on individual stocks and try, because you're starting to build the habit that you can diversify and take a little more risk. And this is something that I will do a lot of separate videos on. It's about risk profiling for your emotional risk, how you feel with different stocks, losses and things like this. Many beginners should not be investing really in individual stocks, because you're hedging on one particular thing. And the problem is, that's why you get edgy, because you're watching the stock price move, edgy. It's much better to buy ETF, exchange traded funds. Normally the benchmark is the S&P 500, the American stock market. So you will buy one share in an ETF, and that will buy across 500 companies. So you don't have to buy 500 companies, you buy one, and it takes you the piece of the basket, rather than buy a piece of every company. Much easier. It's also a lot softer. So the problem is, a lot of people say, yeah, but I'll miss out. And the thing is, you need to look at the long term. It's all relative, because you're going to get some stocks that will do really well and other ones not so well. But if it's all in one basket, you get steady growth. And steady growth is much better long term to build slowly. So looking at the long game is really going to help. The question I've had before is, if I was starting again from scratch, what would be my first move? And this is a lot of what I try and go back to actually, because I am now in a process of also simplifying my portfolio, because there have been, when I started, we all follow the news and go, oh, I'll buy this stock, buy that stock. And I've got a couple of platforms where I've just got lots of different stocks in. And I am in consolidating them mostly. But again, sometimes I have to time it because some are at big losses and some are at big profits. And sometimes you have to balance the two. So yes, I think if I'd have gone back to the beginning, I'd have bought ETF of the S&P 500. I'll show you how to go through comparing which ones on which platforms are best, but I would buy one of those because the American market is generally the strongest at the minute. I would also, because of the modern world looking into 2026, and this I want to put a caveat, there's a lot of volatility on the horizon for next year. So without panic, just to make people aware, just be cautious. The precious metals are the bigger ones to watch for next year. So 2026, pay a particular attention to gold, silver in particular, and possibly even copper. And again, those can be in ETFs. It's not a problem. You don't need to. You can go and buy the physical product if you want, but again, you can use it as an investing vehicle. Instead of holding stocks, you can hold the precious metal. So that would be where I would start. And understanding risk, what amount of risk am I happy with? So the ETFs and the metals that I've explained would give you a nice starting point that it's well balanced. It means you will get some steady growth and it hedges you, because if there is volatility next year and the markets start to come down, the metals will go up. They normally start to offset each other, especially in the times of uncertainty, where gold tends to always outperform the US dollar, for example. So that would be exactly where I would start. And I will go again more detail on new video next year in the tutorials of how to start, where to start, which platform, what to buy. I will do a step-by-step tutorial with you. And one last question we can do. How do you build confidence when you don't know where to start? Well, this is why I try and clear through the maze of information out there, because there's gurus everywhere, and not a lot of them are actively in the markets. They are just telling you this because they're earning commissions and things like this. I only put the links down in the description below because they are the platforms I actively use, and if it will help you, use them. I actively use them. So the fact I get commission, it doesn't bother me. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it to say, I've tried and tested these. Have a look. It may help you because it will show you what I'm doing in the videos. That this is the platform I'm using. It makes it much easier. So if you can follow step by step, a lot easier. But again, it comes back to the fact, take action and just try, because you may find one platform slightly better for the way you like an app to work. I mean, all the platforms are app based on your phone. You may find you like one more than another, but you'll only find out when you try it. So if you like, go to the links down below and set up all the accounts and try all of them. Again, trying yourself in baby steps, you learn more, and it builds your confidence in just taking the small steps to say, okay, I'm going to try in the invest engine, I'm going to put £50, start that one first. Okay, great. Maybe you'd like it, maybe you don't. Maybe then you'll try free trade and say, okay, I'll try this. I have more variety. I can look around a bit more. I can educate myself a bit more. And again, you will learn more by doing action than just studying. So this is where I want to encourage everyone to think about what you want and start doing the steps, the action steps, baby steps, bite-sized chunks. Just do it. So next year, we're all going to be on a winner and we'll all be here together. So I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.